roll. Mr. Bell, are you here?
Present, yes.
Mrs. Carroll?
Here.
Dr. Finley?
Present.
Mrs. Koo?
Here.
And Reina Diaz here. And our school's rep, Gigi is Guadalupe. Are you here?
Present.
And Ariana?
Here.
Thank you. Dr. Emerson, is your staff here?
Yes, Madam President, all staff is present.
Thank you. And now I will ask Mr. Bell to please lead us in the flag salute, and then after that, beliefs, vision, and mission. Thank you. Let's go.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Moment of silence just before we go into the next part of our meeting. And I'm just going to read our beliefs, which we all believe before the lead. We believe we are a community of learners. We believe learning occurs in a culture of caring and respect. We believe all students are motivated to learn when they are engaged in meaningful work that connects to their lives. We believe expectations do influence performances and outcomes. We believe learning increases when there are high expectations for performance and conduct. We believe that we have a responsibility to find solutions that enable all our students to learn. In our vision, 21st century schools producing 21st century students. In our mission, to provide the knowledge, skills, and inspiration for each and every one of our students to increase in college, career, and in their lives. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bell. Please be seated. I need a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Bell,
Second.
second by Mrs. Carroll. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
We now move to item 8, reports from student board members.
All right.
Okay, ladies.
Yes.
Who would like to start?
Okay, hello, I'm Ariana and I'm reporting for Doherty High School. So during the month of November, Doherty High School has had many advancements and great memories. Last month, we were proud to say we hosted an amazing homecoming and on campus, and it allowed our Falcons to dress up and spend a night together. Our Falcons had so much fun that ASB is currently working on a fundraiser winter snowball dance for December 3rd. For this dance, we're allowing our prices to be lower for those that donate canned foods, and then after we're going to be donating those canned foods to people in our community. But besides all the fun events, we are having our academics excel since we offered kiosk, or more known as peer tutoring, as it allows students to get help and quiet time to work on their homework if they don't have time at home. Also this week before break, we had a thankful week and we challenged our Falcons to give back, especially to our staff, our families, our communities, and our students on campus. We especially focused on our seniors as we wish them good luck on their college submissions. When it comes to sports, we also begun a new season of sports this month, and we are filling up our teams with a JV and a varsity level. So with that, I am happy to report many positive and eventful things are happening on our campus, and with the semester closing in, we are helping our students academically, keeping them safe, and ensuring that they're making memories along the way.
Guadalupe?
Hello, my name is Guadalupe and I'm reporting for MIT. On Tuesday, October 12th, MIT Film Academy students, in partnership with Creating Creators, filmed and interviewed actors, directors, and writers at this year's Screenfest on the black carpet in Hollywood at the Grauman Chinese Theater. Stars interviewed were actors Joseph Gatt from Game of Thrones, Mark Menchaca from Netflix series Ozark, and musician Tommy Lee from Motley Crue. Students from Andres Duarte MIT and DHS also participated in Film Career Exploration Fair the following week at the same theater. Our Chill Thursdays for the months of October and November included guest speakers from LA Metro, Oakcrest Institute of Science, and Foothill Federal Credit Union. The MIT Elks Bike Club will be distributing free bikes in December, just in time for the holidays. Also, sports are in full swing in the San Gabriel Valley Continuation League. Coach Victor Champion and the MIT Tigers are in the middle of football season, and their record 3-1 yesterday. The Tigers lost a hard-fought game, 44-42, to rivals Coronado High School from West Covina. Remember, the acronym CHILL stands for Career, Health, Interventions, and Life Skills Literacy.
Thank you, Guadalupe. Before we move to our presentation, Dr. Emerson, I'd just like to acknowledge the presence of Mr. Tom Reyes, a former board member. Thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you.
Okay, we now move to presentation.
Thank you, Madam President. At this time, we will have, actually, if you can hold off, Todd, I want to ask the board president a quick question. We do have a comment, and I don't know if you want to receive the comment before the presentation or after.
You can do it before.
Okay, then I'd ask if we go ahead and have Mr. Steve Hernandez come forward. You sure? Okay,
After?
all right.
Okay.
All right, thank you. With that, I'll ask Mr. Todd Robbins, attorney for the district from Atkinson, Andelson, Loyola, Root, and Romo, to come forward to present our information on proposed trustee area maps. Mr. Robbins.
Thank you. Good evening, board, and I apologize if my phone goes off while I'm giving this presentation. I'm managing multiple board meetings tonight, so forgive me for that. We have reached the mapping phase of our transition to by-trustee area elections. So just to give a quick review, we got a demand letter from a plaintiff in 2019. We reached an agreement with that plaintiff and their attorney to delay implementation of the transition to by-trustee area elections until 2020 census data was available. And so as part of that, we started the public hearing process on the pre-map public hearing process at the beginning of this school year. We've had those first two pre-map public hearings. Tonight we come to you to present 3 maps, conceptual, and after tonight, if the board is okay with it, these maps will be posted on the district's website for comment, review 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and then there will be 2 post-map public hearings that are going to be happening at subsequent board meetings. So with that, just make sure everything's okay. We are going to start with scenario 1. There we go. And just a reminder, when the maps were drawn, we have 2 must-dos when we draw maps. The first thing we must do is take the total population of the district, divide it by 5 to find out what the ideal trustee area scenario population would be, and then create 5 trustee areas that are as close in population as possible, with a variance of no greater than 10%. All 3 of these maps comply with that requirement, some with a little bit smaller variance than others, but they're all within that 10% variance. The next thing we must do is comply with the Federal Voting Rights Act. So one of the factors that we look at there are there any groups of protected classes that are situated in such a way that we could have them have a majority voting strength in a particular area? And as we'll discuss with each of these maps, we actually have 2 areas where the majority voting population is Hispanic Latino. So when you look at these maps, you'll see that we have 2 areas to the southern side of the district, south of Duarte Road and west of Buena Vista is the purple area, and the blue area bleeds into that as well. And then Huntington Drive is used as kind of a north-south divider, and you can see that there's the pink area there in the middle of the district, and then the yellow area is the Beardsley community, and then the green area is the northern part of Duarte. The way your population is distributed, the higher concentration of population is on this southwestern side of the district. And that's also where the more interesting Federal Voting Rights Act compliance scenarios come into play. And just for reference on all three of these maps that we're looking at, the purple area and the blue area will be up for election in 2022. The yellow, red, and green areas will be up for election in 2024. All right, if you go ahead to scroll down to the data tables, please, on this one. Perfect, thank you. If you could zoom in on that top table first for me and scroll to the top of it. So this is our total population table, and you can see that in that maroon bar at the top, the ideal population is 5,619 people within each trustee area. We have a total variance between the largest and the smallest area of 6.8%. The total population of the district is 28,000 people. So we divided each area by 5. You'll see that the largest area is trustee area 4, which is either the blue area or the purple area. Off the top of my head, I don't remember. And then the smallest area is going to be trustee area 2, which is the yellow area. So this is your total population. We're well within that 10% variance for that first must-do. Go ahead and scroll down to the third table on this. The next thing we worry about is compliance with the Federal Voting Rights Act. And in previous presentations, you've heard me talk about the concept of packing and cracking. We want to make sure that we're not drawing maps in a way that dilute the voting strength of protected classes. And in this particular scenario, we have 2 areas that are majority Hispanic Latino, and that's trustee area 4 and 5. Those are those 2 areas on the southwestern side of the district. And they have very strong Hispanic Latino voting strength. The citizens voting age population number is different from the 18 plus total population number in that this data is derived from the American Community Survey, which is a division of the Census Bureau, and they make an estimate of eligible voters within that area. So it's 18 plus and then distilled down to who amongst that 18 plus population is eligible to vote. And you can see here that 66.3% of the Hispanic Latino population in trustee area 4 and 75.6% of the Hispanic Latino population in trustee area 5 is eligible to vote. And then the numbers, so we have to worry about that for purposes of Federal Voting Rights Act compliance. So this is good. This is a strong map that meets kind of all of the standards that we're looking for. Any questions on map 1?
Can you go back to the map, please?
Can you scroll up to the map, please? And then zoom out a little. There you go.
So which numbers?
So the key is on the right side. Yellow is 1.
Oh, okay, I see it.
Green is 2. Red is 3. Blue is 4. And purple is 5.
So you're saying where the blue is and the purple, that's the majority, not the... Yes?
Is it okay to answer these questions?
Madam President.
I think that we will have...
Presentation, isn't it? What are we supposed to
It is a presentation, but right now for the board, I know we're going to have a public meeting on...
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
All right. Any board questions?
One map, you mentioned 3 maps,
Presentation is still going.
and you're going to do the same thing.
Presentation is still going.
Thank you.
Any questions from the board on area 1 or scenario 1?
I just want to make sure, how do we end in having the blue and the purple area for election on 22, in 22, and the green, the yellow, and the pink, red.
So
on
the way your
24.
board cycles are, good question. You have three trustees that are up for election in 2024, and 2 trustees that are up for election in 2022. So we can only run 2 areas in 2022. And as part of the settlement agreement, we were asked to have these two areas up for 2022. And so that's why these two areas are up in 2022.
Okay,
Does that answer the question?
yes.
Okay,
Thank you.
great.
I have a wondering, when you talk about the variance not being over 10%, is the variance just with the total population, or is it the variance of the citizen by voting age?
Excellent question, and it's only with the total population. So when we're doing that first division, we have to make sure that the total population is the only consideration, and that the variance between the largest and the smallest total population is less than 10%.
And then, Todd, really quick, I don't know how much you can speak to this, but just, are you allowed to talk a little bit about what other constraints put in the settlement agreement also
Sure.
sort of dictated
Yeah.
what areas there are?
So the other consideration was Huntington Drive. I mentioned that we use that as a north-south boundary, but that was also part of the settlement agreement. Additionally, the pink area needs to be up for election in 2024. And so those were really the major considerations when drawing this.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. If you could go ahead and switch to map number 2. Because your population isn't very large, there's only so many ways you can slice the pie, and so the maps are going to look relatively similar. And obviously, because of that citizens voting age population concentration in the southwest part of the district, those are now some of the things we want to make sure that we honor and respect. And so we want to look at the purple and the blue areas to make sure. And so I will represent to you, before we get down to the data, that we have complied with that Federal Voting Rights Act requirement to maintain that citizens voting age area. But we just kind of shifted the orientation a little bit. We pushed the blue and the purple area to the west, and then the pink area has a little bit more of a north-south orientation, but the green and the yellow area mostly maintain their same shapes, with the yellow area dipping down south just a little bit. All right. If you could go to the top data table first. Sounds like they may be having some technical difficulties. Oh, could you go down to the first data table? So you'll see on this data table, our total population variance is a little bit tighter. We're at 5.4%, whereas scenario 1 was at 6.8%. Again, fine. We're good within the Federal Voting Rights Act. Go ahead and go down to the third table, please. And you see again that in Trustee Area 4 and 5, we have strong Hispanic Latino citizens voting age population. And in actually Trustee Area 3, we have a little bit stronger of a plurality on this map. So again, all three of these maps are in compliance, but I just wanted to show you the data. Any questions on scenario 2 from the board? Okay. Can you go ahead and go to scenario 3? Similar shapes with the yellow and the green area in this one. The red area has again kind of been returned to its east-west orientation. The blue area has kind of been pushed a little bit further to the west, and the purple area has been allowed to kind of go to the eastern boundary of the district, which we know over there near the 605 is mostly river bottom and other things like that. All right, if there aren't any questions on the shape of the map, we could go down to the first data table really quickly just to confirm our information. On this one, we're at 5.9% total variance between the largest and the smallest area, with Area 4 being the largest by total population. And then go ahead and scroll down to the third table. And you'll see in the third table that we've maintained our citizens voting age population strength in areas 4 and 5, and we have a plurality again in area 3. So each one of these maps meets all of the legal requirements of not only the settlement agreement, but also the Federal Voting Rights Act, which is critically important for compliance purposes. So as I mentioned at the beginning, the next steps will be to post these maps on your website for review and comment. The community will be able to click on them and look at the information for themselves. And then at the December 8th meeting, is that right, Dr. Emerson?
So on November 30th?
November
there will be
30th,
a
thank you. I forgot about that.
There will be a community input session.
Yeah.
And then on December 8th, there will be a public hearing.
Yes, and so the community input session, the maps will be there for review. We'll do our best to make sure a demographer is there to answer any questions about street lines or boundaries or things like that, and I will be there to answer any questions, and hopefully community members come. But otherwise, the maps will be available online for the community to review and comment. And then there will be a public hearing at upcoming board meetings where people can provide feedback at the school board meetings. So any questions about the maps or the process going forward?
Board members?
Yes, thank you. So, Todd, can you tell us just briefly about, and maybe this is a question more for Dr. Amerson, with these maps posted online, will there be some way for people to comment? Do they email? I mean, how do they provide feedback for that?
Dr. Emerson and I have spoken, and he mentioned that the district does have the capacity to put comment boxes with each map. So he can talk about it more, but we would do expect that to happen, and we will also explain which areas are up for election and when, and Dr. Emerson can probably provide more detail on the comment issue.
Yeah, absolutely. So we already have set up a website that is ready and functional and ready to be opened up for the community. We just wanted to make sure we had this presentation, had this opportunity to have the board have a good discussion about this, and then these will be posted for the community, and the input and feedback option is available on that website, so we can collect the data and then be able to be responsive to it.
Okay, and then one other quick question about the online access to these maps. If you scroll up to any one of the maps, just
scroll up to the top of the map, please.
Just a question about how are people going to be able to know kind of where the boundaries actually are? Because I mean, these are kind of rough estimates of where things are. Is there any way we can label streets to say, okay, well, this line is going down such and such street, and this one's going over, just so people can kind of get some orientation about where they sit within each district? Is that a possibility?
So we can have these maps posted as soon as tomorrow, and then I can work with the demographer to see if we can get something that's a little bit higher resolution that may have that information on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess, I mean, I'm just looking like, for example, on Mount Olive Drive in this particular map here, I guess people might want to know, okay, if I live on one side of the street, am I in one district, or is it the whole street?
Sure.
Just information like that might be helpful.
Very good.
Any other comment or question? Mrs. Cook?
I was just wondering if you can share how often these maps can be redrawn.
So they're legally required to be redrawn after every decennial census. So the other board meetings that I'm attending tonight are districts that are redrawing their maps based on the 2020 census data. And that's typically for the purpose of just rebalancing. So let's say you had growth in your community that threw that 10% variance off. Under the Ed Code section 5019.5 process, all we're required to do is move a little bit to get things back in balance. We don't do a total reconfiguration. So you're not legally required to do a total reconfiguration at any point, but you are required to keep things in balance. However, you do have the discretion as a board to redraw maps if you so desire in the future. The only issue is the process is a lot more labor intensive than the rebalancing process. You'd have to go through the public hearing process again, like we're doing now, and also have to ask the county committee to approve any reconfigured map, whereas the rebalancing process doesn't require that sort of intensive work.
And then just, sorry, really quick, just to follow up to that variance question that I asked earlier.
Sure.
If the total population is divided by 5, but then the citizens' voting age, I think I always saw a higher number in the green area. So I'm wondering, why isn't that taken into consideration versus the total population?
It's a good question, and it's the way that the courts and the Federal Voting Rights Act work, is there's this concept of one person, one vote. And if we were to factor in the citizens' voting age population as the first criteria, it may make one district really large, total population-wise, and may make another district really small. Thereby, in that smaller area, the theory would be that each voter would have more representation because there's fewer of them. They would have higher access. And so when they wrote the Federal Voting Rights Act, this notion of one person, one vote was based on the total population, so that the total population had relatively equal representation. You're welcome.
Yes, so when we get down to the hearings and the final vote,
Mhm.
can you kind of walk us through how that's going to look like?
Yeah. So on the night when we've completed our public hearing requirements, if the board chooses, it could have a third public hearing on that night on the maps. And then the agenda will have 2 items on it. The first item will be a discussion action on selecting a map. And then the second item will be discussion action on approving a resolution to transition the district to by-trustee area elections, and ask the Los Angeles County Committee on School District Organization to come hold their hearing within district boundaries to approve your process. And also, as a new feature this year, to approve the waiver of that really small election requirement on whether the district should transition to by-trustee. I do that every time I come here, to by-trustee area elections. So it'll be those 2 items, and if the board wants to have a public hearing prior to that, it certainly could do that.
Sorry, I have one more question. I'm just wondering if you can expand on how the community can engage in this, and then as well as whatever concerns they bring up, how are we going to address them?
Sure. I think it's important to note that this process doesn't affect attendance boundaries. It doesn't affect anything like that. It only affects who the voters get to vote for. So the community will have the opportunity to look at this, and on the online system, if they have access, and provide comments, if we can get them the higher resolution maps for sure, to be able to look at them and say, well, I'm concerned where this line is drawn because my neighbor will be voting for one trustee, whereas I will be voting for another. That information will go to Dr. Amerson. We will present it to you. And that opportunity is also available at the community input meeting on the 30th. There will be large maps available for people to view, and they will have street information on them. So that feedback can be provided there as well. There'll be stations for people to write comments and insert them in a box, and Dr. Emerson will compile that and present it to you as well. So, and then obviously the public hearings that we have at the next couple of board meetings as well.
Any other comment, question? No? Todd, just for more clarification and more information for our community who follow our meetings and streaming line. If I go to the map as a community member, we are drawing the lines on our district based in the requirements by the voting right and by the settlement.
That's
agreement,
correct.
Right?
That's correct.
And so those are directions that we are following them in order to complying with their requirements.
We want to comply with the Federal Voting Rights Act, and we want to comply with the settlement agreement. Yes.
Thank you. That we can talk a little bit about what is the settlement agreement in public, or no?
Yeah, we did. We've already,
Can you-
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
can you, yes, please,
So again, there,
say that again?
yeah, you received a demand letter in 2019 as part of the ability of us to wait until 2020, so we didn't effectively have to do this twice. We entered into a settlement agreement, and there were conditions that were included in the settlement agreement. So the first was the areas west of Buena Vista and south of Duarte Road had to be, the areas that touched that kind of geographic space had to be up for election in 2022. And so that includes the blue area and the purple area in each map. The next condition was north of Huntington Drive, or Huntington Drive was the north-south dividing line, and only for purposes of ensuring population balance, which is again a Federal Voting Rights Act requirement, could we cross over that. And so you see in each map, there is a little bit of a bump north of Huntington Drive, because that community around Royal Oaks STEM Academy, we needed population in order to make sure that the red area was the right size. And so that's why we had to go. If you go west of that red bump north of Huntington, it's primarily commercial, and so there wasn't any population to get there. So that's why you see that. And then that red area also has to be up for election in 2024. And then we weren't able to factor in incumbency, which some boards don't want to do anyway. And so these maps are all drawn with those considerations in mind.
I see. So for the election of 2022 and 2024, whoever decide to run for one of the seats, they must live in one of these areas. Like people who lives in the yellow area will run in 2024.
Correct.
People who lives in the green area will do it the same year, and also the pink or the red. So those people will be running on 2024.
Correct.
And the blue and the purple will be running on 22nd.
In 2022, correct.
2022, yes.
Yep,
thank
that's
you.
correct. Yep.
Okay. And I think that it's very important to be clear to the community.
Yes.
And, sometimes you have to go like, yellow color is Bradbury area.
Yeah.
And, so kind of be sure what we are communicating to our community.
Yes,
So,
yes, for sure. And the website will specify with each map, and it's the same with each map, that the blue Trustee Area 4 and the purple Trustee Area 5 will be up for election in 2022. And then each map, the red, green, and yellow areas are up in 2024. So
Okay.
the website will specify that as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate your help. Thank you. If there is no other questions, school rep, do you have any questions? No?
All right.
And Dr. Emerson?
Yeah, Madam President, I'd again, now that the presentation is completed, I would invite if Steve Hernandez would like to make his public comment. And Mr. Hernandez, you have 3 minutes, sir.
Not a problem. I'm a little confused with the map to begin with, because it's showing the area east of the 605, which is all Irwindale, and we have no students in that area, nor do we have residents in that area. So it kind of makes that area look bigger than it really is. And the biggest problem I have is with, I'm not seeing it make a lot of sense just yet. And I'm not going to argue the demographics, because I think he did a good job of that. But it really sounds like we're going to have an almost entirely new board, which is surprising. But at the same time, I think it's, if it's necessary, it's necessary. I would like to have seen this stuff before. In other words, if you had had copies of this on that table before we came in, it would have been nice to be able to mark those up as we were listening to the presentation. Now we got to start from scratch and coming up with our comments on what we want to do. But the sooner you can get them on your website, the better. I think that's going to be helpful because, again, if we have to wait for the next meeting, that's a long time. And you're kind of putting people at a disadvantage in the community from having the ability to remember exactly what it was they wanted to do. And that's kind of where I'm at. And I don't see a lot of difference between us and the city. And by the way, there was a comment made at the city that I'd like to get cleared up here. And that is the city attorney told us that if we adopted a map for the city, that the way the judge recently rewrote that order, if anyone in the community is not satisfied with the way that was drawn, they can take it to court, challenge it, and the city has to pay both their legal fees and they have to pay the court costs. So, I mean, I don't know if this is going to happen with the school district, if you'll be handled any differently in that part of it, but I do think that that's a matter of concern that we should all carry through this process so that we have everybody involved and we have a consensus of the community to prevent that from happening. And I really don't think I'd like to see either this school district or the city strapped down in finances that are unnecessary. And that's my big concern. And it's one that I think that we should all carry. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hernandez. Okay, we now continue with our board meeting, superintendent report.
Thank you, Madam President. Short superintendent's report tonight. I just want to just express my gratitude to the folks who run the Doherty Band Field Show Tournament. We did it last Thursday on Veterans Day. It was an awesome event. Bands coming from all over Southern California to perform wonderful music and show presentations on our Doherty High School Falcon Football Stadium. Very, very well attended. It was a really great honor to be able to be there with the city manager, and be able to award the various schools for their great performances. And so, just a shout out to everybody who attended, and it's just a great opportunity for us to showcase the great facility we have at Doherty High School, as well as to showcase our city on a very, very much revered national holiday. So wanted to share that. And then the only other thing I want to say tonight is happy Thanksgiving to everybody. I think that one of the things I shared with one of our association leadership teams earlier today in our meeting is it's not lost on me that we've been going really, really hard at it since August the 12th. Our students have been hard at work. Our staff has been hard at work. This board has been hard at work. This community has been hard at work trying to get back to some sense of normalcy while still mitigating and protecting ourselves to make sure that we stay healthy and we stay safe. And so I think that the upcoming Thanksgiving holiday and holiday season is very well deserved by everybody in this community for their hard work and their perseverance during this global pandemic response. And so I just want to say thank you to everybody for their hard work. It's been a hard push, and I think everybody deserves a nice rest next week. So happy Thanksgiving to everyone. That's the end of my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Emerson. We now move to request to address the board.
Thank you, Madam President. We do have one, Mr. Hernandez.
I'm back. Only things I wanted to comment also on the Battle of the Bands. I was there all night doing traffic, so it was fun. And I can tell you it was a very successful, it looked like. And, You know, that's one thing that our school needs to do is more outreach like that, because again, you know, we're a gym here that's just not seen, and we need to be. But my primary reason for coming up here was to thank all of you, and you know, I'm grateful for the fact that we have such a good school board and a good staff working on with us so that we can get through these times that we're going through. You know, we have another challenge on the table, which is going to be the closure, a possible closure of a school, and that's going to be a tough one. But I wish us the best at that, so that it's handled wisely and it's comes to a place where we can all agree and move on. But I also wanted to get up and just say happy Thanksgiving to all of you, and thank you for your service. It's really important, and it's really appreciated. And I know a lot of times you don't get appreciated, but I just want you to know that I think very positively of our school district and our staff. It takes a lot, and you people have been chosen by the city, by the residents of this city. So, you know, it's a big burden when you've got a lot of people to listen to, but you do it well. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hernandez. It's always good to see you too.
That's the conclusion of comments for public comment.
Thank you, Dr. Emerson. We now move to item 12. Approve the minutes of the regular meeting. I need a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Bell to approve the minutes.
Second.
Second by Dr. Finley. Any discussion? Okay, not roll call, but all in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, we'll do it. Students, are you in favor? Yes. Thank you. Okay, we move to item 12.2, approve the consent calendar. The next item of business is the adoption of the consent calendar. Does anyone want to remove any item for separate discussion or action?
Madam President?
Yes.
If I could pull 12.2.4, the classified personnel report. I just have a quick comment on that.
Say that?
12.2.4.
Okay. We have one item that has been pulled with the exception of that item. Can we approve the rest of the consent calendar?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Bell. Second. Okay. All in favor to approve the consent calendar without just pulling one item?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, we now move to approve item 12.2.4. So, Dr. Finley.
A motion to approve.
Okay, motion to approve. Second.
Second.
Okay, your comments.
Yeah, I just so this classified personnel report, it was a lengthy one, as I think several people pointed out. But one of the things that I wanted to just point out to our community members that maybe haven't looked at this yet is a lot of these classified personnel are students that are doing the tutoring that was spoken of. What do they call it? The kiosk? Yeah, so I mean, that didn't exist when I was at DHS, and I just really wanted to commend the high school and the students for doing that, because I think that is a excellent way for you know, our students to give back to their school, to earn a little bit of money on the side, and to really reinforce those principles for themselves in addition to teaching them to somebody else. So I commend the high school and the students for doing that. So I just wanted to bring that up and put a spotlight on that.
Thank you, Dr. Finley. And may I ask, beside reading the agenda and see this item in there, is your daughter kind of telling you what's going on with the high school too? I mean, yeah, I mean,
She does, sometimes a little bit, it takes some prying to pull it out of her. But you know, I think a bowl of ice cream at night sometimes helps the words flow a little bit more. So yeah, it is good to have, you know, I have a child at 3 different schools here in the district, and so it is good to kind of keep my finger on the pulse of what's going on through them. So that does help.
thank you.
Can I
Yeah,
add something?
sure, go ahead.
I would like to say that I personally am a tutor during the kiosk, and yeah, I just wanted to give a shout out to that too. I think it's a really good program, and I'm really happy that we have it. And a lot of people do come in. Don't worry, you don't have to give me ice cream for that one. A lot of people do come, and they actually do get help from us. And we have roughly, like, I would say like 5 to 6 tutors each day. The only day we don't do is Thursdays because we have meetings during those days. But I think, you know, it's working out really well, and we have teachers that also are there. So like on Mondays we have our math teacher there, so we kind of inform them on that too. So if they're struggling in a certain subject, we have teachers from certain subjects that can be there to help. So shout out to those teachers that do help out those days.
Thank you, Ariana. Okay.
Madam President,
Yes.
another item that students are on there as well is in our cafeteria. We have student workers there too. So I just want to make sure and highlight that too, is where we have student workers on our campuses.
So that's where I can get the ice cream then.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just going to comment, because it's a marvelous thing we have that in our schools. I know other schools that I don't think incorporate that in their schools, and you have to pay for outside tutors. But I think we're so fortunate here in Doherty that we have these kids helping out in the library. My daughter was also one of those students that did that back in the days, and plus you make a little pocket money too, which is great. So I just want to say it's great. And I was going to ask the question whether or not if it's well, you know, is it being attended more, or because I know sometimes a lot of kids didn't come in, but I'm not sure with now this time whether or not there's more kids coming in.
I can add something to that. I know that in some areas, teachers are actually kind of enforcing it, and some teachers are making it easier by saying, like, if you go, you can get extra credit, because, you know, you are making a stance that you want to do better and you want help. You know, that's the first step, you know, asking for that help. So they are offering extra credit in some cases. Some teachers are there. So some teachers that those students have are there during tutoring. For example, shout out to Mr. Hernandez, is always there. Wonderful math teacher, and he always enforces his students and he offers extra credit. And with the kiosk tutoring, we also, I think it's twice a month, don't quote me on that, but I think it's twice a month where we offer Saturday schools as well from like 8 to 12. So that's a huge help, and we also use our student tutors, and they can get paid during the weekends. And there's some students that have been allowing their weekends to help those students. And we have been having more participation during the week than on the weekends, but students do still come in, and they can also receive, like I said, extra credit, extra practice, extra assignments. And with some teachers, you can also retake tests during that time period, and then also receive extra assignments if you're struggling or a little behind. And it also helps with their grade as they're learning more. So I think that's awesome.
And the biggest thing is it's free to the students. Parents take advantage of it.
Thank you. It is a wonderful conversation about the efforts and from our students and our staff. So with that, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, we now move to, say that, yeah?
Madam President, just to confirm, are we having the students do voice vote along with the rest of the board?
Yes, I think they do.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe they do.
Yeah,
They-
you can do a voice vote. I just want to confirm
Yes.
so we make sure
Yeah,
we have the vote
they-
count.
You did, right? Yeah. Please move and say yes. And the way that we don't call names right now is because we are in presence. When we are on Zoom, then we have to ask for name with the name assigned. So that's why all in favor, and that will do it. I just following Mercedes' read directions, okay? Okay, we now move to item 12.3, first reading of the board policies. That I need a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Bell, second.
Second?
Second by Mrs. Koo. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Item 12.4, second reading, approval of the board policies. I need a motion.
So moved.
Second?
Moved by Mr. Bell, second by Mrs. Carroll. Any discussion? Any question or comments? Seems none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Item 13.1, designation of authorized signers representatives to the Office of Public School Construction. May I have a motion?
Move to approve.
Moved by Mr. Bell, second.
Second?
Mrs. Carroll, any discussion? Yes, Mrs. Carroll?
I was just going to ask, this is just regarding the new position that Tiffany Bell is taking on for Sunny. Okay,
That is correct, Board Member Carroll.
okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other question? Okay, since none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, item 12.2, authorization to go to bid for internet services providers and Y-access network services. May I have a motion?
Move to approve.
Moved by Mr. Bell, second.
Second?
Second by Dr. Finley. Any discussion? Any question? Okay, go ahead.
If we could, that's kind of a.
Your
new
microphone.
for us. I just like to hear.
Your microphone, please.
If you could highlight a little bit more why we went this way and,
Yeah, absolutely. I'd ask Ms. Bell if she'd like to just talk a little bit about going out to bid on internet service.
I'll get back to you on that.
Okay.
Fair enough. We're going out to bid. Sorry, that's a bit of a curveball, Mr. Bell.
And Ms. Bell, I didn't mean to throw you a curveball, but it was just interesting to know that we have made the change, and I'll wait. I have no problem waiting.
We'll come back with more information.
Matter of fact, I'm glad you're doing it because we've had some terrible stuff around here lately, so I'm looking forward to it. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Amerson.
Thank you, Mr. Bell. Okay, any other discussion or question? No? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Item 13.3, affiliation agreement with the University of Phoenix. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Moved by Mr. Bell, second by Mrs. Carroll. Discussion or comments?
I was just wondering if we could expand on what this is.
Okay. Dr. Amerson?
Yes. So, and well, you want to go ahead?
There we go. Thank you. This is one of our normal college agreements that we have when we get student teachers. It's usually on the consent item. It was put down on the business item. Sorry, it was my mistake putting it on the wrong space. But when we have student teachers, we have agreements with those universities. This has no cost to the district at all, and so that we can get great new teachers in training and to help out our expertise of our teachers that we have could really bring that education to new people.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Koo, for that comment, for that question. And Mr. Crosby, I think that it is okay to sometimes put it in the not usually placed as a consent calendar because we can brag about all what we do in this district. And so it is really good for the public to know that we have those relationships with different universities, not just the Phoenix University, but APU, among the Citrus College and Mount SAC. So I think it is wonderful. So thank you. Moving along, item 13.4, contract with Erickson Hall Construction Company for construction management services for the Duarte High School Sport Complex project, funded by Measure S. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Bell, second.
Second.
Second by Mrs. Carroll. Any question?
Madam
Mrs.
President?
Yes, sir.
We do have a public comment on this item.
Okay, sir, go ahead.
I'd invite Mr. Tom Reyes. You have 3 minutes, sir.
Thank you, Board, and good evening. I'd like to bring to your attention that, well, actually, what I would like you to do is table this tonight and talk to your attorneys. You were sent a cease and desist letter back in December of last year about the bond and how it was passed and how laws were violated. I'll shoot one out. California Ed Code 15272 requires ballot labels to state the board will appoint a citizens oversight committee and conduct independent annual audits to assure that funds are spent only on school and classroom improvements and for no other purpose. This statement was not on the ballot label, nor was the rate of interest and the duration of the tax. Okay, that's one example. If you go with this, okay, there is going to be a lawsuit. So I would sit down with my attorney. If you guys did not get that letter, you should have. It was given to sent to Dr. Emerson on the behalf of the board. Okay, it's really interesting that this company, Erickson Hall, they donated $10,000, and the actual Eric Hall, he donated $2,000, and they're going to end up making millions off of us. I see that as a conflict of interest. I don't understand how you guys aren't paying attention to any of this. And $130,000 was raised. Only $250 was from a Doherty business. All the rest of it was out of state, out of town. So the people here, okay, that were somehow convinced to pass it, they didn't want it. If they would have wanted it, they would have donated out of their own pocket. You know, I don't even know if you guys sold any bonds yet. I haven't seen anything out there that you've done that. So I don't even know why you're already spending money that you don't even have. I hope we still have that 10 million that hasn't been sold yet of unsold bonds. I don't know if that's been sold yet. But I'd love some answers tomorrow, Dr. Emerson. You can't answer me tonight, but or you can answer me after the meeting. You know, but I'd like to see that. But if I was all of you, I would table this and talk to your attorneys. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reyes. With that,
Madam President?
yes, sir, continue.
I know it's not customary to necessarily engage with the public comment, but I would like to clarify some things that were said, with your permission.
Please.
So as was stated, there was a letter that was received by the district.
And we did
We did receive it. We did respond. We were guided by legal counsel that we were appropriate in the action that we took. We have that legal memo from our legal counsel. So for all intents and purposes, for the things that were stated in that letter, we did not feel, our attorney did not feel there were any legal basis for them. So we moved forward. And at this time, we have gone, at this time we've gone through a comprehensive process, the legal process of an RFP, RFQ. There were more than 16 different firms that submitted appropriately to the RFP, RFQ, several of which donated to the outside campaign, not to the district, and through a rigorous process that included rubrics and a scoring process, Erickson Hall was selected, which you took action on to approve that recommendation by us. Now we are just simply enumerating their work with us by bringing this contract. This contract was drafted. It's not Erickson Hall's contract. It is our contract drafted by our attorney, Brian Smith, from Atkinson, Allison, Loyola, Root, and Romo. So it would be my guidance and my recommendation that you approve this contract tonight based on how it is presented.
Thank you, Dr. Emerson. Do you have any comments or questions, board members? No? Okay, I do remember getting the letter, and I had my concerns, and I did talk to Dr. Emerson. I don't know if you was engaged in that conversation, but I do trust in the step that he has followed, and I will continue asking for this voting, for this item. It was moved by Mr. Bell. It was seconded by Mrs. Carroll. And at this point, I will call for, if you are in favor, and if you want me, I can call by names, or if you feel better, that's up to you.
Mr. Bell's in favor.
Okay, Mr. Bell, thank you. Okay, Dr. Finley,
Yes.
Mrs. Coop,
Yes.
and Mrs. Carroll. And Reina Diaz, yes. I will suggest the
Our student
students
board-
to abstain, if you don't mind. I will ask you to abstain this time. Are you okay with that? Thank you. Okay, yes.
That being said, I just wanted to ask a few questions about the gym, actually. Anything to do with that, or do we have to vote for it?
No. That action's already taken. I'd be happy to address that during your non-agendized
Oh,
comments.
I'll do that.
Yeah.
Okay, with that, we will move to non-agenda items. So I will ask Mrs. Carroll, so I will change the order. So Mrs. Carroll, go ahead.
Okay. Maybe I'll start with the question first, and then I'll go into the other steps. So the question was, I wanted to ask, when exactly will this be breaking ground? Like, when are we going to start the process with the gym? I'm curious to know. Or would you, anyone?
So
Not tonight, Mrs.
here's what
Bell.
here's what I'm going to do, because what we did tonight, board, is we officially broke in our CBO because I threw her a curveball, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off responding, and then I'm going to kick it over to her for any additionals. Right? And this we're gonna bring her forward. Okay, so. It's interesting, Board Member Carroll, that we actually had a meeting today with our construction managers, Erickson Hall, and we were talking specifically about the progress that has been made thus far. Now, interesting that the gym project is really in 3 phases. We've got to relocate the actual tennis courts, then we've got to move a storm drain, and then we can build a gym, right? So those 3 processes are going to begin, and they're going to break ground in Q1 2022. So we will be looking at likely the February-March timeframe, and then we will move through the rest of those phases and those projects from there. Ms. Bell, did I miss anything? No, okay, fair enough. So we will, and I am gonna ask, well, do you wanna let the cat out of the bag, or? Yes, I will ask you to respond to that, please.
Okay, so we intend to break ground in February. Our date has not been set. And we expect completion of the first phase by, August 2024. So our groundbreaking ceremony is what Dr. Emerson is alluding to. So we have been working behind the scenes to have a tremendous groundbreaking ceremony that encompasses the community and alumni athletes who have won CIF championships or who have gone pro or who have done things for our community. And we want this to be a total community project. And so we're sending out invitations to those people. We have apparel for them to wear so we can have a slew of blue. And so the community can be invited, and we will include our cheerleaders, our band, will sing the alma mater. We'll have each one of the athletes stand around for picture opportunities. But what we want to also do is make sure that the alumni provide a scholarship for an athlete, and we will hopefully present a check for a scholarship for our athletes there. And the little secret is that we possibly have the Dodgers DJ that will come out for us and MC. I'm like, oh, that's a big cat. That's like a lion at this point. No, we're really excited, and what we want to do is encourage community involvement and want to make sure that the community knows that this is there for them And then we want them to see that there were great athletes that are here at the sports complex. And I think it will be a great day. So we're looking possibly maybe February 19th, but we got to clear some things with the city just to make sure. Once we do that, we will send out save the dates, and we will send those out to the board members, and we will send those out to the community and also to the alumni.
And Board Member Carroll, if I could just add, I just want to applaud Ms. Bell for kind of taking the bull by the horns. She kind of came in mid-process where we had done quite a bit of work, but you know, in partnership with the construction manager as well as with Little Diversified, our architecture firm, we're hitting the ground running. And so we're really, really excited and happy to share the timeline and with the opportunities to do a real, honest, full-on community-based engagement program, which I think is what our community needs and deserves. But we've been really, really resilient. I said it in my comments earlier, we've been very resilient, and I think we deserve for them to celebrate something that they want and that they need and that our kids deserve. So with that, I'll yield back to you. Sorry, this is your time, my bad.
Okay, so I'll go back a little bit. I guess I'm going to say, like, I think about your opening, just wishing everyone a happy Thanksgiving for next week and something that we can just focus on family and just relax a little bit. It's been a lot of stuff going on from the beginning of school year till this week. So I love the much needed rest now, just to focus and just relax a little bit. And during, I think, what was it, a week ago or so, we went, Dorena and I were actually at the Beersley Dia de los Muertos. We actually attended that, and it was wonderful, actually, very colorful. There's entertainment, and the teachers, I feel like every year they're doing more and more to really, it's getting bigger as an event, and I have to thank Ms. Romero and the teachers and the staff that really put this together. It was a wonderful little event out there. Beautiful artwork. So it was wonderful. And I did attend the tournament, the field tournament. I was there, and I love the event. It's so much creativity, choreography. You get to see what other bands are doing, and we even had the PCC band that performed, and they're doing the West Side Story. West Side Story, since the movie's coming out in December, so it's always good to hear some Bernstein out there. And because of that, I got to hand out trophies also. So Dr. Amerson was so nice to share the wealth, he called it. So I just happened to be there, and I have to say, and I don't know if I'm going to say the name correctly, Dan and Kim Yergoshian. Okay. They're in Madeline. Hi. They've been doing, their parents that have been volunteering with the booster for years, and they don't even have kids in our district anymore. And they continue because I guess they love it. And I know they're very big. They have the Doherty spirit for sure. And I had to just kind of do a shout out to them because they're amazing. Just what they put on. And it goes to show you too, and I'm going to say this with the new gym coming along the way, but the field. We have a beautiful field. It's not only used for sports, but it's used for events like these. It's used for Special Olympics. It's used for graduation. So to say that our new gym also could do the same thing, could be utilized in so many other ways. So, and it's just, you feel pride just sitting out there and looking at your field. It's beautiful, and it has, and because of that, we were able to have other schools and other districts come and perform. So pretty much, like I said, I think our kids deserve it, and I'm going to end it with that. Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Carroll. Mr. Bell.
I'll just kind of tag in on that again. Thank you very much, Cece. Everything you said was right on the money, and appreciate the information that you and Ms. Bell and you, Dr. Amerson, brought about the gym. The part I think that bothers me the most tonight is that I never have seen the community respond like they did to Measure S, the way they did, how quickly they did, and it was just a lot of hard work by people in this community who wanted to see things better. And I want to say thank you very much for the work and the leadership that you provide. And Ms. Bell, I know you're going to put the cat back in the bag and bring it back out the bag, because this is going to be something that this community needed to see. I mean, we've had kids leave here to go to other teams and other places because they feel like we're substandard. That's no more, and these kids deserve it. And I think it's going to be really one of the highlights for me to see how this community rallied around. I don't know how the length of time, but it was almost phenomenal for the length of time that we had to do this. And I just can't wait for this to be that moment where we can look at Duarte again in a wholeness part. Just like when you mentioned about the gyms, we have records that many schools could never compete. That the walls have been torn down, or they're either eradicated, and nobody knows who had the records. Nobody knows who went to different colleges, who's in the professional sports, because we don't have records anymore. So again, all this will be reestablished, and I'm telling you, it's going to reestablish Duarte where it should have been a long time ago, with excellent athletes, excellent students, and a place to where they can, do their craft. So again, thank you for the things that you guys are talking about. It just really enthused me. So really have an opportunity, and I'm pleased to see it to happen. So thank you. Oh, how's Dr. Harrell? I just wanted to ask how. I know I just thought I'd ask.
Yeah, he's doing well. Okay. And I'll share with each board member offline.
Gotcha. That's all I have, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Bell. Mrs. Koo?
We're going super out of order. Okay.
You want me to go back to Dr. Finley?
It's okay.
Come on.
I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who has worked so hard. Not just our staff, of course, we all know how amazing you do. Our teachers, especially our students, our parents, working with us to ensure the best experience in an unfortunate situation. And so I am just amazed how everything has come together and how we've all really worked together, listened together to put the greater good above our individual. And just hearing the kiosk tutoring and that teachers are going in because they don't have to go in. This is absolutely extra that teachers are going in to support the students. And even students, yes, you get paid, but you're also donating your precious hangout time of your high school years to help your peers and I see my friends struggling. I'm going to make sure there's an opportunity for them to be better. And so I think that is just amazing. And again, just happy Thanksgiving, everyone. This is a big stretch, if you didn't know, for teachers and students and the staff, that this is right when all the breaks start happening. So this is a welcome break.
Thank you, Mrs. Koo. Dr. Finley.
All right, I thought you were going to throw us another curveball there, Madam President, but thank you very much. In talking about this groundbreaking thing that with the cat out of the bag, I'll tell you, probably one of my earliest memories as a child. I don't even remember what it was, but we went to something here in the city, and they had all the city officials up there, and this was before, my mom was involved with the city, but we went to some city function, and I remember the city council up there. They're all wearing hard hats. They all had shovels, and I remember thinking, I want to do that one day. I want to do a shovel thing. That sounds like fun. So I don't know. I'm not putting any pressure on you, but I'm just saying if there's a shovel there, I might pick it up. Okay. Anyway, I had the opportunity. Well, okay. Let me back up a little bit here. I think everybody has been to a restaurant, and you didn't mean to go there. You were just out somewhere, and you said, "I'm really hungry. I'm going to just stop in this place." And then you order something, and you go, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing! This is the best burrito, the best enchilada, whatever, the best whatever I've ever had." And you go, "How come nobody knows about this place, this little hole-in-the-wall place?" And I just keep hearing time and time again how many special things there are going on in our district, and I just feel like that every single time when someone tells me about what's going on in the district and what we're doing here. And so I hope everyone takes an opportunity to go to functions that happen at the academies or at the high school. You know, I had the chance, my daughter, who I spoke of earlier, she wanted to go to the Black Box Theater. This was a couple weeks ago. There was a production being put on by Mrs. Bartlett, going over or portraying Edgar Allan Poe poems. And, you know, I was kind of like, all right, well, you know, she wants to go, and, you know, she'll take me, so great, I'll go. I suspected that the only reason I was going is because I was paying, but that's fine, that's fine. I'll take it, I'll take it. I was amazed. It was phenomenal. I mean, like, when they ended with one of his most famous works, The Raven, and I'm telling you, like, I was sitting there getting chills as they were doing this production. So it was just tremendous production, and it was so simple. It was just phenomenal. So I want to encourage everybody to go out and experience these things that are being put on by our students and our teachers and our staff, because it really is top notch, and it really does make me feel a tremendous sense of pride to be part of this machine that puts out consistently good special results. So anyway, I just want to encourage people to do that. And then just to end, you know, happy Thanksgiving. We've got that coming up next week. You may be surprised to know that a 40-year-old man like myself has a TikTok account. I have never posted anything before, but I do lurk on TikTok. And one of my favorite things, I tell my kids about this because they don't actually have TikTok accounts, just their dad does. And there's this dog named Noodle. Okay, it's a 13-year-old pug. You guys know about Bones or No Bones? Okay, they're cringing over here. They're cringing like, oh, as soon as this guy talks about it, it's out. It's not cool anymore. But anyway, this pug, it's a 13-year-old pug, and the owner stands it up every morning, and if the dog has bones, meaning it stays standing, then it's supposed to be a great day, and you're supposed to ask for that raise at work, or you're supposed to ask that girl out to the movies, or you're supposed to just kind of go for it. And so I want to encourage everybody to look at this Thanksgiving break as your bones day. You're going to go for it. And the thing I would encourage everyone to do in going for it is to spend time with friends and family and build those relationships and strengthen those relationships and really take some time to take care of yourself, because it's really so important that we do that. If we want to be helping and serving others, we really have to make sure that we're capable of doing that, and part of that is self-care. So I just wanted to encourage everybody to have a Bones Thanksgiving break and just build those relationships. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Finley. We will now move to Guadalupe.
Okay, so hi. I just want to start off by saying, although I'm not a DHS student, I'm also excited for them to get their new gymnasium. Gymnasium. Yeah, and I also want to say, give props to Ariana, because as a student, I know it's already tough just going to school and doing your things, but also to be helping other students and tutoring them. That must be a lot on your plate. So from them to you, thank you. And yeah, kind of going off of what everyone said, I hope everyone has a good Thanksgiving, even if you don't celebrate that. I just hope you guys have a good break. I know it's very much needed. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Thank you. Ariana?
Okay, I would like to start off by saying I'm very thankful and I love this community and I've been here with this district for years now and I love DeWardy and I love giving back to them. So, you know, being a tutor alone, it's just one of the little things that I can do. I know being here, you know, taking up my time tonight is very important to me and I'm very passionate about giving back to this community specifically, and I love everything that this board is doing. I'm very thankful, and I'd like to highlight this board especially. I know you guys have been working very hard, and I know you said since August, but I know you've been working hard since summer just trying to get us back on campus. And personally, I'm very appreciative that you could get us back on campus safely and everything you do for us to have those little, you know, bones moments, you know, to be able to offer kiosk tutoring, because I know last year with it being online, that just wasn't something we were capable of doing. So just trying to get us back into our community and trying to unite us. And thank you, Ms. Bell, for helping us out with that. And hopefully you can get your shovel. Very groundbreaking. So that's very exciting on my part. I know that we're not going to have it for until a while, but I will still be in this community, still giving back to this community any way I can after high school. So I'm just very, very grateful for that. And just everything. And I'm very happy to see that our high school is going to get an upgrade because, like you said, I think sometimes it's kind of a hole in the wall and people try to leave this community thinking it's a bad community, but I don't see that. I see this community have so much potential, and I try any way possible. I try to get other people to come to this community and see what we have to offer, because I think we have amazing students. That play was amazing. Everything about things we do in this community is amazing, and I think it's been put to the side for too long, and I think it's time for us to upgrade our schools and upgrade our community and unite us, because with this pandemic we have been extremely torn, and just that Battle of the Bands was one step into uniting our community, and I think that's exactly what we need, communication and uniting. That's everything I have to say, but happy Thanksgiving. We deserve this break. Hopefully we can all get very well rested. So.
Thank you, Ariana. Hopefully in about 6 years, I see you dealing with this, working on this more, okay? I know normally I won't do this, but this time, since Thanksgiving is coming up, I will ask a couple of words to Mrs. Bell if you want to share anything with us tonight. And it's just because I am in that order, so I'm going this way, so be prepared. Yeah.
Thanksgiving
Yes.
is one of my favorite holidays, simply for the congregation of family and friends and the peace that comes over you during that time. It was very special to my grandfather. He has since passed, and we reflect a lot all day. I remember, I think it was the year he passed, we were standing around the kitchen because he cuts the turkey, and we just kind of stood there and we were like, is somebody gonna cut the turkey? It's cold now. But we totally forgot because that's what he did. And it's just been great, so it just went down to the next man. But it's been awesome, and I just want everybody to feel some type of peace and take a break and sometimes turn off the news and try to every day make somebody smile. That's how I try to live. Simply just try to make somebody smile, because you don't know what the next person is going through. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Bell. It is really good to have you in our family. It's great. Dr. Hillman.
I'm grateful. I'm not grateful that I have to follow her, because that was a pretty beautiful statement. It is a blessing to be in this community and be surrounded by so much support, and wishing everybody, the board, the community, our students, our staff, all of us, a healthy, happy week off, getting away, having a chance to recharge and really reflect on where we are and where we're going ahead. So thank you, board. Thank you for this opportunity to be here, and wishing everybody a very happy, warm Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Dr. Hillman. Mr. Crosby.
Thank you so much. Just want to reiterate, I want to thank all of our staff. Our staff are exceptional, and they're going above and beyond every single day, and really appreciate what they do for all of our students. Just like Ariana said, coming back was not only really the best thing for all of our students, it was the best thing for all of our staff too. And just seeing them, the students every day, just is enlightening. This week, next week, just wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving and a lot of rest, because we know how much work everybody's put in since the very beginning. So thank all of you.
Thank you, Mr. Crosby. Mercedes Ruiz.
What I would really like to say is I'll pass, but thank you, Madam President, for allowing me to speak. But I just want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving, and hope that everyone takes the time to recharge and get some rest. I know it's easier said than done. We start looking at what we need to do, and then there we go, down a rabbit hole with our work. So, but hopefully, we can. I'm sure we'll see some family and friends, and so that'll be a good time. And by the way, yes, Ms. Bell keeps us happy because you know why? She gives us cookies. She showed us where her stash is, though, so I don't know if that was a very smart thing to do. So everybody, happy Thanksgiving to the community and staff. So, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mercedes. Dr. Emerson, you're going to be at last. That's always the last one. But before you I get the microphone, I want you to brag and celebrate, not the way that I wish, but let's talk about what happened a couple of weeks ago with Mr. Crosby at the county. Received something?
Yes,
What
yes.
happened? Tell us.
Well, why don't we have him tell us?
No,
No, I won't make him do that. No, I won't make him do
No,
that.
because,
So,
yeah, go ahead.
So this year, this is really cool. So this year, annually we have what's called a superintendent's collaborative. It's where the LA County Superintendent's office invites all 80 superintendents from across the entire county, and we all come together for a day of professional development. What was different about this year is not only were we going to have the superintendents come, but by design, we invited our cabinet staff as well with us, because at that annual collaborative, there was also a superintendent of the year selected for the county. But the secret in this year was that we were also going to have assistant superintendents of the year for the county as well. And so I had the opportunity to nominate Mr. Crosby for Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources Personnel. And I had a nice chance to brag on him and write some different things about why I thought he was deserving. And then we were notified that he won. And so at the annual Superintendent's Collaborative, Mr. Rick Crosby was selected as the 2021 Assistant Superintendent of the Year for Personnel for LA County, the County of Los Angeles, the largest county in the country. So, congratulations to Mr. Crosby.
Excellent.
Very,
Congratulations.
very well deserved.
That is something that we really thank you from the bottom of our hearts in behalf of all the kids. And I know you deserve that award because you work hard with your staff and among many of our employees to do the vaccine possible in our district and the vaccination and all the things the little things that are big to impact our community. So thank you for being part of this family. We will never let you go even if you're the mayor of La Verne, okay? You can be the mayor, the president, whatever, but you will still with Duarte. With that, I would like to say happy Thanksgiving to all of you. Feliz Dia de Gracias. And it is one of the most wonderful days to celebrate in America, where any person from any part of the world feel very good to say happy Thanksgiving, because it's not related to any religion. And so it is for the best and the biggest day for many, many people. And with all that, I will pass it on to Dr. Emerson.
Thank you, Madam President. So the first thing I want to say is at heart, I have always been and will always be a teacher. I love the process that goes into people learning new things. My number one strength on the Gallup Strengths Finder assessment is that I am a learner. And so by design, I just love the learning process. So you're like, well, Gordon, where are you going with this? Well, annually, the board gets an opportunity to learn together at the California School Boards Association Annual Education Conference. And it's an opportunity for the board to engage for 3 full days of just learning and growing as board members, but also learning and growing as a team. And what I am so excited for is the opportunity to spend several days with you all learning and growing together. I have found our time together in years previous to be extremely beneficial, extremely helpful in developing the relationship that helps sustain us through the challenging times. I respect this board deeply for your tenacity, your perseverance, your grit in the face of adversity. We sometimes have to deal with misinformation, untrue things, and that's okay, because that's what you signed up for, and that's what I signed up for. But my commitment is to help us always try to come back to the North Star, which is focused on people like Guadalupe and Ariana and all of our students, because they're the only reason we exist. And so when I hear about things out in the community that I know are not true, my job is to bring you the truth. My job is to cut through the nonsense and the gobbledygook and the half kind of baked, like sort of understanding that people do that to not move us in a positive direction. This community is poised to do positive things. And so as long as I get to sit in this chair because you allow me to, I will continue to defend this board, defend those students, defend this community against anybody who tries to say things that are not true about what we do. And so I look forward to learning and growing with you all over the next several weeks. And I look forward to the opportunity to continue to serve with that group over there and this wonderful woman to my left, because we serve at your pleasure and we serve to represent you all well and to represent them well and to represent them well. I'm honored and privileged to be a part of this team and to be a part of this district. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you. I know I'm supposed to unplug next week, but I'm still going to work. I'm sorry. It's just, it comes with the territory. But I really, really am very honored and privileged to serve this board and serve this community and be the superintendent of this school district. And with that, I'm done with my report.
Thank you, Dr. Emerson. I also personally like to thank the 3 community members that have been here tonight faithfully until the end. Thank you for support us. Thank you for being here on behalf of the entire community. It is a really pleasure to see people like you that like to hear what's going on. And if at any time you like to speak to us, feel free to call Mercedes or get our information. It's public. You can contact us via email or telephone. So once again, especially for the 3 of you, happy Thanksgiving. With that, I will move to ask for to adjourn the meeting. I need a motion.
Motion.
Motion. Bravo, Dr. Finley.
Second.
Second by Mrs. Carroll. All in favor?
Aye.
Perfect. Okay, thank you.